Welcome to Living the Smarter Science of Slim, where we provide a scientifically proven lifestyle for long-term health and fat loss by eating more and exercising less, but smarter.
Eat smarter, exercise smarter, live better. I am so ready for that.
Hey everyone, Jonathan Bailor and Carrie Brown back with another Smarter Science of Slim, Living the Smarter Science of Slim podcast. Carrie Brown, how are you?
Hello, Jonathan.
Hello.
I'm doing very well, thank you.
For this podcast, do you think I should try to speak with a British accent and you should try to speak with an American accent? Can you speak with an American accent?
I can't.
Oh.
I can't talk American.
Oh. You can't, I can't talk
I can't
American.
say water in American.
You can't say water.
I can't say butter in American.
How do you say what,
There's also a rude word that I can't say in American that makes everybody laugh when I say it.
The thing right above your wrist, which is below your fingers, begins with the letter P. How do you pronounce that?
Palm.
Palm. Okay, yeah. People from the Midwest say palm, like a palm tree. Another thing.
Yeah, but we say palm tree, so, you know.
That's fair. What do you call the beverage that comes from cows?
Milk.
Say it again?
Milk.
So I mispronounce this word. I say milk, like there's an E in it. And I didn't realize that until like 10 years ago. So for quite some time I was saying, but I still say milk. I don't say milk. I don't know why.
So, no, I think that's a very bad idea. I think you should continue to talk in American and I should...
You should continue to talk at all.
Should continue to talk in British.
I love it.
Sir.
Well, sir, madam, let's take the lift and go have some bangers and mash.
Don't get me started, because I
there-
could
you
down a plate of bangers and mash right
You
now.
should make a sane version of bangers and mash. I actually did a pod
No mash, Jonathan?
with
Oh, yeah, okay.
mashed cauliflower. Which
Stop! Now I want to eat sausages.
mashed cauliflower, Carrie, that stuff is the bomb. We've been making mashed cauliflower in the Vitamix. Just take, all you do is you boil cauliflower, you put it in the Vitamix, you add garlic, onions, whatever. You can make it like any way you'd make mashed potatoes. It's good eating, Carrie.
Yes,
It's good eating.
good eating.
I like mashed cauliflower. I'm a fan. I digress.
Yes.
Next
I thought
subject.
it was me that had the issue with bright shiny object syndrome, not you.
I like shiny objects. Carrie, fish. You know I love fish.
Yes,
Do you love fish?
I do love fish.
So, folks, I just want to make one quick PSA for eating fish. The longer I'm alive and the longer I'm in the internet nutrition world, in quotations, people talk about meat. Like even the food guide pyramid kind, which of course is the best source of nutritional information around.
Which is from the devil.
But we often just like meat. Like I don't know why it is, but when we think protein, we think meat. When we think I'm not a vegetarian, we think that's because I eat meat. Carrie, we got to give fish more love. Like fish is super healthy. It's super sane. And folks, if we want our omega-3 fats, fish is the way to go. And it's super, super, super easy to prepare.
So it's probably time I posted my fish pie recipe then.
Is it a dessert?
No.
Okay, thank God. It's more like a pot pie, not a pecan pie. For example.
More like a pot pie, but to Americans. Hello, lovely English people. You all know what I mean when I say fish pie. It's time to post a sane fish pie recipe, clearly.
Is it like, what is the other kind of, or mincemeat pie? Where
Yes,
it's like
shepherd's pie.
Shepherd's pie, or
Yes.
like a chicken pot pie, for
Right.
example.
Mhm.
That would be spectacular.
I will make you a fish pie.
What type of fish does it have in it?
Whatever.
Whatever.
Nice.
Nice.
Normally the base is white fish, so cod, a chunky, a dense white fish.
Yeah.
But I'd often put prawns in it and, or mix it up, or haddock.
Or some
But that's
salmon.
kind of British,
Salmon.
haddock. Or salmon, you could do it with salmon
Oh,
too.
yeah.
I'm going to make you fish pie now.
And so the tip I wanted to give our listeners, Carrie, is I've been on the lookout, my eyes out, for how we can get wild caught fish affordably, because it's not super affordable. And also keep in mind that one of the reasons we want to eat fish is because it's an amazing source of super healthy fats. So if you're not eating fatty fish, in some ways it kind of defeats the purpose of eating fish in the first place, because like if you just eat, whatever, cod, It's still good. Like, it's still super sane. It's still filling, but it's not an awesome source of the most biologically available omega-3, awesome anti-inflammatory, sane, fat-burning fats.
So you get all the protein, but not all the other things you could get on top.
Exactly. But salmon, so salmon is just a great example, and it's delicious, and it's super easy to make, and it's like chicken. You can put it in almost anything. Like, salmon is the new chicken in my opinion, but if you want to get wild-caught salmon, it can be extremely expensive unless... So Costco, I was asking around when I went to Costco. Folks know I'm a fan of Costco. None of their fresh salmon is wild caught. It's all farmed, which doesn't make a deal breaker, but I wanted to see if I could get some wild caught salmon affordably. And the good news, actually, is in the frozen section, which means it's not limited to the Pacific Northwest, which means it's not limited to Costco shoppers. There, I think it's Trident. They create these salmon patties, and they're wild caught. And then when you actually look at the price per pound, the price per pound is, I think, less than $5 a pound.
Their salmon burgers are the bomb.
And so they're delicious, and they're less than $5 a pound for wild caught salmon.
And from frozen, they take like 4 minutes to cook.
Oh, and you can just use, like I use them. You can season them. You can just put all natural marinara sauce on top of them. You can do all kinds of stuff.
And they are literally salmon and seasoning. That's it.
Yeah.
They're fantastic.
Yeah, they're less than $5 a pound. So for folks looking to try to do wild caught fatty fish that is amazingly sane and healthy for you and delicious, I have yet to find a more affordable option than those frozen salmon burgers.
Yes, I love them.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it.
And also, while you're there, because these are also fabulous, is the Kirkland brand, the Costco turkey burgers,
yes,
which are essentially turkey, white meat turkey and seasoning, and they are fantastic.
And again,
so get a bag of those while you're there.
Yep, and super easy to make. In fact, I used to do the salmon burgers on a Cuisinart griddler. It's like a George Foreman grill. But now I actually I put them in a baking sheet and I cook all 12 of them at once. And I have them.
Of course you do, Jonathan.
Well, but it's my entire. I have my lunch for the week. It's glorious, and you know I love cooking in bulk.
Is there anything you don't do in bulk? No, don't answer that question. Let's move on. What's the next question, Jonathan?
Next question that came up in the lovely Smarter Science of Slim support group, which you haven't checked out, please do. Smarter Science of Slim /community. We've got Dr. Kathy, who you've heard on this podcast, who's awesome.
We love Dr. Kathy.
Dr. Kathy has been a doctor for longer than I have been alive.
I'm saying nothing.
So Dr. Kathy, wonderful lady. She's our wonderful Smarter Science Slim support group moderator, arbiter, facilitator, general awesomeness person. Anyway, a question that came up in the free Smarter Science Slim support group had to do with wheatgrass. Which
my cats love eating wheatgrass.
Really, they're probably the only living thing, because wheatgrass is not a very tasty substance.
They love it. In the winter when there's no grass outside,
yeah.
I buy them a thing of wheatgrass every week, and they mob me when I bring it in.
You buy the fresh?
Yeah, the little pallet things of wheatgrass, and they mob me, and they mow it. Like in 3 days, and I get them on a week, and they love it. Anyway, sorry, carry on.
That's cool. Well, no, and certainly I've actually never tried fresh wheatgrass, and I'm sure if you blend it in a smoothie, you can't even taste it. But the most common way that people eat wheatgrass is the kind you'll find in the SANE store, which is just powdered, dehydrated wheatgrass. And it's wonderful when you're traveling or when you don't have access to non-starchy vegetables. It is never a substitute for actual non-starchy vegetables, ever, 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 ever. Nothing that is not a whole food is a substitute for whole foods. But if you're, like, for example, on a plane from Seattle to Manhattan and you can't bring non-starchy vegetables on the plane, but you can bring wheatgrass, not that I've ever experienced this personally, wink, wink, wheatgrass, there's some tips to make it palatable, because if you just try to eat wheatgrass, it's a bit like trying to eat sand. It is not going to go well. So if you choose to enjoy wheatgrass, which I would only recommend if you do not have access to non-starchy vegetables, one, it is very important to get the finest ground wheatgrass you can possibly get. Now, if you are a lucky owner of a Vitamix or a Blendtec or a high-end blender, you can solve this problem by not just mixing it with a spoon and water, but throwing it in the Vitamix, letting it do its thing. And also, if there's any way to add it to something else that makes life so much easier. Like if you just try to drink wheatgrass with a spoon with water, you might be able to do it, but
it's not the funnest thing you're going to do this year.
Highly, like if you eat low sugar, low fructose fruits, like throw a peeled orange in the Vitamix, throw a couple tablespoons of wheatgrass, blend it up for 2 minutes, throw some ice in there so that it's not warm, because drinking warm orange juice is probably not the best. And that's just going to, so 2 tips. One is mix it with something else, please, and make sure it's as finely ground as possible. And again, the brand that I use when I travel is in the SANE store. It is quite finely ground, and it is quite delicious when combined appropriately with other stuff. And when I say delicious, I mean you can't taste it, because if you could taste it, it would not be delicious.
Yes, your definition of delicious and mine, I think, are just worlds apart, Bailor. And that's okay.
This is fair.
We need to celebrate our differences.
Well, and Carrie, I think
which are many.
A wise woman once told me, it's all about your goals.
This is exactly true.
Who was that woman?
And thank heavens, I do not have the same goals as you. I think that was me, Mr. Bailor.
I think it was too, Carrie. That is the irony that I...
I'm going to throw something at you in a minute, Jonathan.
Next, Carrie.
Yes.
The importance of vegetables before noon. Sounds like the name of a book.
Or something.
Something. The importance of vegetables before noon. The reason I bring this up.
Not the importance of being earnest. The importance of vegetables before noon.
That actually does sound like a book. Like, that would be awesome if someone just wrote a book called The Importance of Vegetables Before Noon. Anyway, so why are we talking about the importance of vegetables before noon? The single most important part of living a sane lifestyle.
Pick me!
Oh, you're going to answer the question?
Yeah.
Carrie, what is the single, like, if you were to say there's one requirement, actually there's 2 requirements, but what is the primary requirement before you could call yourself sane?
Non-starchy vegetables, 10 servings a day.
Boom! At least. Correct.
Can I answer the question now?
No, you just answered it.
Oh, no. The before noon piece.
Oh, yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Because if you don't get them in before noon, you'll never get them in the rest of the day.
Ding, 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 ding.
Is that the right answer?
Bonus point. You got 2 for 2, Carrie. Congratulations.
We don't even plan this stuff.
We don't. You've been listening.
I've been paying attention, Bailor.
No, Carrie's exactly right. Where you got to spread these out across the day. So if you're not already at, like, let's say 3 servings, which seems like a lot, but if you incorporate, like, most people don't realize how small a serving of vegetables is. A carrot, 1 carrot is a serving of vegetables. When you eat spinach, if you were to cook spinach, you naturally will eat 3 servings. So just eat it as part of breakfast. Make a frittata, make some of Carrie's wonderful stuff. If you can't, make a green smoothie, and try to be like, by your second meal of the day, you should probably be right around 5 servings of vegetables. And if you are, 1, you'll feel great. 2, you'll start to look even better. And 3, hitting double digits will really be a non-issue. You won't even think about it and you'll hit it.
You can seriously get half your veggies in a smoothie.
Absolutely.
And not taste veggie at all.
At all.
My recipes, I think none of my smoothie recipes up on my blog have less than like 5 servings of veggies in.
And Carrie, the other thing is, like what I started doing recently, I have this little concoction that I make, again, totally assembly, not chef, but I like it. We often use rice or pasta just as fillers, like a base. You put something, you put fish on it, you put chicken on it, you do something. I use either kale or spinach. I prefer kale generally, actually. So I take kale, take a bunch of kale, take a bunch of red onions, and I take a bunch of garlic, and I just put it in a pot with a bunch of water, and I boil it till it's boiled down. And I use that as a base. Like if I'm going to have some salmon, I just put it on top of that, or I just use it as a side dish. And that thing, like when I just scoop it on my plate and I have my nutrient dense protein and I have my side of amazing kale, garlic, onion blend, usually with marinara sauce on top, that's accident. Like without trying, I'm going to eat 4 to 5 servings of non-starchy vegetables. Granted, I'm a larger person, so I eat a lot, but truly, folks, when you need to eat until you're satisfied, and if you're eating if you're eating nutrient-dense protein, whole food fats, and you're filling the rest of it up with non-starchy vegetables, you can't help but go double digit. But just make sure you do that, because it's really easy to get focused on anything else but non-starchy vegetables, because they're kind of the least sexy food group. I don't know. Most people don't get excited about them, but once you start living the SANE lifestyle and seeing what they do for you from a health perspective, you'll be quite excited about them. So,
and I'm actually in the middle of writing a post, which is actually, it might be out by before this podcast airs, which is kind of along the lines of, yes, I know I've been focused on making SANE cookies and muffins and pancakes and all that stuff, and that's all goodness, but let's not forget that the focus is the 10 servings of non-starchy veggies and all this other cool stuff that I've made you. It's great, but that shouldn't be the core basis of your diet. That should be the treat to make you feel normal. We mustn't lose sight of the fact that it's the veggies is where it's at. And then the cool stuff that, having pancakes for breakfast, and, that's all a bonus. You have to build your day around the veggies.
I'm over here. I'm so happy. I think Carrie just hit the nail on the head. And I'm going to do one plug for green smoothies, because I know when folks are just getting started with Sanity, this seems a little weird. But folks who are SANE veterans, I've yet to have any person not have this experience. Here's phase 1. Green smoothies. That sounds ridiculous. I'm not going to do that. Okay, phase 2. Cooking all these vegetables is pretty time consuming. Maybe I'll try these smoothies. Stage 3. These smoothies make my life so much simpler. And here's the glorious thing. What Carrie just said is spot on. And when you've got your green smoothies, let's say you want to have SANE pancakes for breakfast. Have your SANE pancakes and enjoy them, because you know what? You've got your green smoothie. So you don't need to be like, well, I was going to have SANE pancakes, but how the hell am I going to get my vegetables in? Nope. Taken care of. And if for dinner you just want to have some SANE, a big thing of SANE fish, and you don't want to do a bunch of vegetable cooking, you know what? Smoothie taken care of.
Yeah.
So I love it. Carrie, well stated, madam.
Yay! Plus, if you haven't joined the smoothie train, and Jonathan knows that I was a bit slow in getting on the smoothie train, but I think there's about 6 green smoothie recipes up on my blog now, which is at carriebrown.com. And none of them taste anything like a vegetable. They do look like a vegetable, but they don't taste. There's one which it tastes like a strawberry milkshake. It genuinely tastes like a strawberry milkshake. And then there's an orange creamsicle, and there's a mint chocolate one. In a blind taste test, you would never know there was 5 servings of spinach in that sucker. Absolutely. Or kale, depending on which recipe it is.
Absolutely.
Go try smoothies if you haven't.
Absolutely. Carrie has a knack. She's almost a magician for hiding non-starchy vegetables in recipes. You would never think to find them.
Exactly.
I love it. Carrie, I wanted to talk about coconuts, because it seems to be coconut and quinoa seem to be the 2 new sexy foods. We all know quinoa is insane. We've covered that in previous podcasts. So coconuts. So coconut, the food coconut, is amazing. Coconut goodness. If you need to use an oil, coconut oil is a good oil. But I just want to warn our listeners of something. And this is a perfect example of why we have to be cautious when we go into the supermarket and when corporations get their hands on food. Coconuts, you'll notice there's actually not a lot of fanfare about buying coconuts. There's a lot of fanfare about buying processed derivatives of coconuts. Coconut oil, this is a fact, is a processed derivative of coconuts. Coconut sugar is insane and is also a processed derivative of coconuts. Coconut water is a derivative of the whole coconut. Coconut milk is a derivative of the whole coconut. It's not to say that all of these things should be avoided. Coconut sugar should be. It's simply to say is just a perfect example of we've got this whole food that's beautiful and it's full of wonderful gut flora healing fiber and metabolism boosting medium chain triglycerides, and it's incredibly satisfying and it's inefficient when compared to other fats. And when big food gets their hands on it, it turns into a processed stuff, which if you ask the average person on the street about coconuts, they'll say, yeah, coconut oil. Like the first thing that comes into their mind is coconut oil. And to be clear, coconut oil is not bad. But by definition, coconut oil is not as sane as whole coconuts. So the takeaway message here, folks, is if at all possible, coconuts are wonderful for you, and I would urge you to try to find ways to incorporate whole. And I don't mean you have to go buy a freaking coconut and like break it on your head and eat the coconut, but just coconut meat, shredded, completely unprocessed coconut meat. Wonderful addition to recipes, wonderfully healthy. And if you like coconuts, I would urge you to focus on as close to the whole coconut as possible and not the marketing hype around processed packaged derivatives of coconut. Carrie, what do you think?
I think it's really ironic that for most of my life there were 3 things in the world that I wouldn't eat.
And those are?
Melon.
Okay.
Spinach.
All right.
And coconut. and now, for the last year, I eat more spinach and coconut than anything else I eat. Those are the 2 things that I ingest more of than anything. And I just think there's a moral, there's a lesson in there somewhere. I'm not quite sure what it is, but I just think that's really bizarre.
And actually,
the focus of my life is the 2 things I didn't eat for 30 years.
Well, and
Isn't that weird?
Water you should probably put on that list, right? Because you drank squash or whatever.
Yes.
And now you drink, you're drinking water right now. I'm so proud of you.
Only when I'm with you. It's all a front.
And it's funny that you should mention spinach. Did you say melon or mango? Melon?
Mm-hmm.
Spinach, melon, and coconut, because for those of our sane listeners who eat fruits, I actually think a melon coconut spinach smoothie might actually be kind of tasty.
I may now eat more spinach and more coconut than anything else, any other food stuff. I will never eat melon. Ever.
Well, yeah, and it's not a food which I would say you should go out of your way to eat. So that's totally fine. But that is a unique trifecta of foods, Carrie.
But don't you think that's weird?
It is weird.
Now my whole life is focused on, every time I think of you, I think of coconut, because Jonathan looks at all my baked recipes and he goes, can you replace that with coconut? Can you replace that with coconut? Could you use coconut instead? Coconut. I'm like, ah!
Well, that's because, folks. I mean, well, we can, we've talked about this ad nauseum previously, but coconut is one of there's foods, like we've talked about this. There's foods which are good, and then there are foods which it's like, go out of your way to eat these because they're more analogous to medicine than they are to food. Like, they are literally therapeutic. And when we talk about therapeutic sources of fats, coconut, cocoa, avocado, chia, flax, fatty fish, like those are the things we need to be going out of our way. And remember, cocoa was on that list. So Carrie has got, it was awesome. We sent our last big round of edits for the new book, The Calorie Myth, over to HarperCollins last week or 2 weeks ago. And
it's a blur, Bailor.
It's like, it's so everything, many things are happening at the same time. And I hadn't seen Carrie's recipes that are in the book. She's got quite a few in there. I think it's between 30 and 40. And I was looking through some of the SANE desserts, and I was just like, dude, these are some good recipes. Like, props to Carrie. I called her, and it was late at night, and I was super tired. And I was like, Carrie, I had to call you because between coconut, cocoa, all this good stuff, turning it into SANE recipes, there's no reason not to go SANE, man. It makes you feel good. It makes you look good. And it is damn tasty.
Yes. Woo. Damn tasty. And I made you orange coconut cupcakes, and I bet you never made them.
No, I have never followed a recipe in my entire life.
I made those for you, Bailor. I'm going to have to make them as well? Good Lord.
Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed Carrie and I's ramblings this week.
The ridiculousness that is Bailor and Brown.
The B&B connection. We always love chatting. We always love sharing sanity with you, and we hope you'll stick with us and join us again next week as we eat more and exercise less, but do it smarter.
Yay!
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Wait, don't stop listening yet. If you like the podcast and if there's other ways we can help you, please join us in the Smarter Science of Slim support group, which is freely available at the Smarter Science of Slim website, smarterscienceofslim.com. There you'll find all kinds of free recipes and success stories and just all kinds of fun stuff like how to help your kids go sane and just great community content.
And just one last thing before you go, if you wouldn't mind heading over to iTunes and up onto Amazon.com and leaving us a review, and then going over to Facebook and liking us, we would hugely appreciate